Hello everybody, this is OW Gaming and welcome back for another Langrisser video. Today's video we're going to take a look at the major update that will be coming in a few days. By the time we're recording it, today is Sunday, which is at nighttime. I want to get this out of me before I forget about it. So anyways, this major update will introduce two new characters actually from Langrisser Mobile, of course. We got Theon and Leo Beck. Well, some of you guys might be thinking, they sound familiar, right? Well, that's because I already covered them from, I believe, 6 months ago. I covered these characters because these guys are quite interesting to see. And also, this is the first time I released their trailer from the CN version. So, anyways, I'm actually very excited to finally be able to explain more information about these guys because we're since we're getting these characters very soon. We actually understand what they do, but unfortunately, due to what they do in their skill kit, they're actually skippable. They're not necessarily needed for Apex at all. But if you happen to pull those guys, don't be ashamed that you pull them for just by regretting it later. But anyways, if you already have them, then great. And you don't necessarily need to have them, but this is only those who wants to have like a complete collection of characters. So anyways, if you're into PvP, I will probably hold on to your crystals because the next major update after this one I was about to explain here, it's something that you probably want to pull on. And also considering the future of Langrisser M, there's also a collab that you also look into as well. Especially one of the SSR that can actually has like a revive, I think. I think no, not the first unit to have a revive, but Rosen Seal is probably the first one to have a revive as a healer, but I don't think that will be the same thing as the collab healer that it has in the future. But anyways, the reason why they're not the same is because the collab healer has a revive at the start. Unlike Rosen Seal, where it can be propped at any time as long as she enters her healing beacon. So they're not the same. Just to throw that out there. Anyways, back on topic. So, anyways, this update we're going to discuss about Theon and Leo Beck. This will be an interesting thing to talk about because our current major update is almost coming to a close, which is finally about time. So let's see what the banner schedule that we have for the next major update in store for us. And also keep in mind, Zilong could possibly shuffle these ones around, so take this as a grain of salt because last update I realized that they actually shuffled some of the banners, but not exactly the different order, but it's just that the order is still identical. But the only difference is that they added a fifth week. But however, the fourth week got a completely different banner than it was listed in the previous video I made about the update info. So, anyways, hopefully Xenon doesn't do something like this for this major update, which I don't think they would because this major update is a 4 week, I believe. So, anyways, these are the banners. Of course, the first week will introduce the two new characters, Theon and Leo Beck, running for the entire cycle, starting from February 2nd all the way to March 1st. And again, these guys are skippable. If you don't need them, just skip them. No need to get them. And then on week 2, we got Wandering Duelist and Omega on a radar banner. And then alongside that banner, there's also a Wish banner that has returned again. This is the one that featured Langrisser 1, Langrisser 2, and Langrisser 3 heroes. So if you're missing any of these guys, that banner is excellent to catch up for the missing units you don't have in the past. Especially those who have started the game a little bit later than the first day of the Langrisser's launch. Or a lot later, I mean. Or if you just started recently, that banner is excellent for you to catch up. And the second week banners, those ones will run from February 9th all the way to February 22nd. And then on week 3, we have a Destiny banner. There are 3 units on this one. I think this is a brand new one because there's some units that weren't appeared in the past. So, anyways, this Destiny banner features Julian, Werner Dime, and Patsier. Anyways, Of course, to those guys who haven't pulled Julian, then good, you're in luck because Julian is actually is actually on a Destiny banner. And honestly, I think I've seen a few times Julian was ever useful in PvP. I mean, most of the time, I don't think I have seen him at all. I mean, that's only back in the day. Like, I believe from the previous season, or actually doing the playoffs before the elimination matchups of season 12. But anyways, if you're missing any of these characters, this banner is the best bet for you to get any character you want. But however, if you're missing two out of the three on the on banner characters, it's kind of a risky thing to do, but you get one, you get either one. So if you happen to get a character that you wanted, and the game gave you that unit, then great, you're basically lucky. If not, you can actually wait. You can actually like try to pull one and then wait out for the next destiny that you need. That's what we usually do, but it probably not be ideal for you. But I mean, eventually, if you actually do well in timeless trials, I would say this is a tip for everybody. So Langrisser has like a kind of I'll probably say like scarce on the crystals, but anyways, if you've done timeless trials a lot, like especially when you complete it entirely, plus if you got the space time building in the floating realm, you can basically get 10 of those worth of pulls per week, which honestly it is not that bad. But the downside is if you want to get a guaranteed SSR, you'll probably need to wait for like I would say two major updates, depending on depending on where you're at with your crystals. But if you found a way to like get those crystals or vouchers fast just by doing certain events, then yeah, you can actually get those really quickly. Just throwing that out there. All right, and also week three banner I forgot to mention is that this week will run. I mean, the week three will run from February 16th all the way to first day of March or March 1st. And finally, on week four, we got two Destiny banners. Both are basically recurring ones, I believe, but I don't know. I'm not sure about the first one. But anyways, the first Destiny banner will be featuring Saintess of the Ark, Shalinka, and Zerda. And these are decent units, but however, none of those appear in Apex anymore due to that Prime had lost its glory, lost its glory. So see, these units aren't that viable anymore. But however, if you can make use of them, then I'm not stopping you. And then the other banner, of course, is a recurring banner, which is the classic ones, such as Leden, Rachel, and Alta Muller. If you're missing any of these characters for whatever reason, this is also a good banner to pull on. And that will run on February 23rd all the way to March 9th. And then once again, take this as a prediction because honestly, I don't know what Zealand would do with these banner lineups because at some point they might shuffle these ones around, but we'll see what happens when this major update goes live. All right, moving on to the next topic of this major update info. What events slash changes to expect? So as you can see here, I made a little change here. So previously it only shows the events that you're probably expecting, but now I'm adding the changing information as well. So anyways, let's take a look, shall we? So what events to expect for this major update? Well, to put this simply, we're actually seeing the rerun of Dimensional Expedition event coming around in this major update, which honestly some people are thrilled or some people are not so pleased, depending on where you're coming from. And also speaking of Dimensional Expedition, if you guys are still looking for a guild, I have like 8 slots available for you to join, which is Deja Vu from Rocky Valley. But if you're in Rhaegar or Dalsis servers, they are also capable of joining my guild. So just to let you know. Anyways, and also there are changes, and also there are a few changes that are very important. One of them specifically, the one in white, it says auto use burger during CB, which is known as continuous battle, which means it's an auto repeat battle function. So so like for example, if you run out of stamina while doing the CB, the game will actually automatically use a burger for you, so that way you don't have to just click it manually. Which honestly, it is annoying in most scenarios, but I'm glad that they're actually considering this to be a feature, which means that you no longer need to manually click the burger to refresh it. The game will just do it for you when doing the CB, which is pretty nice. Okay, the next one is actually something that we already got. So this one is quantity can be selected when buying. So we got this during the 4th anniversary update. So we technically got this quality of life change earlier than China, which it seems. So that's why I put this in gray, so to let you know that we already got it in the game. So there's no need to mention about this again. So just to let you know. All right, the next one we got new confessions and exclusive. I mean, only one confession, of course. Every major update, there's always going to be just one new confession. So, anyways, let's explain what are new for this update. So, the first one we got is Wandering Duelist getting a new exclusive in her armor. Her armor increases defense 10%, and also when equipped, unit damage taken is reduced by 30%. When attacking and entering combat, that means that she will take less damage whenever she attacks with whichever. Like I would say, if the target has Chain of Vengeance, damage taken is further reduced by 20%. So like if Wandering Duelist is attacking the enemy with the Chain of Vengeance on them, she will take even less damage. So that means that wraps a total of 50% damage reduction on herself. Which honestly, it could be quite scary, but however, not really that scary though. But you know what I mean. So like it really depends on what class the Wandering Duelist is, because some people might choose her as a I think the Lancer, I believe, but at the same time, some people might choose her as a Flyer. It really depends on what class she is. So yeah, overall she could be quite dangerous, but not as dangerous to the extent of like Z2, not like that. I mean, both are different units, of course. Okay, the next unit that's getting a new exclusive as well, which is one of my most used units actually, is Lucretia. Lucretia is receiving a new exclusive on her headwear, which it will increase her HP by 10% after the Arcane Golem takes action. Removes one debuff and gain one random immunity on Lucretia, which will last one turn. And also, Arcane Golem will strike first when attacking. Damage dealt will be increased by 30% if Lucretia dies. So this is very interesting to see because honestly, this gear is supposedly improving Lucretia's capabilities, like such as the ability to like remove one debuff that's on her. So having debuffs on her like silence, it's pretty annoying. With this one, there's a good chance that you can actually like be able to remove the silence effect on Lucretia, and then give her some kind of immunity buff on herself, which will last one turn, of course. And also Arcane Golem will no longer be useless, like a sitting duck, I would say. Like with this gear, Arcane Golem will be able to attack first when attacking, and also it does even more damage if Lucretia is dead. So this could be very good to some people who use Lucretia a lot, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need this. But if you're more like on the offensive side, then I'm not gonna stop you from buying this. It's just your choice. You don't really necessarily need to buy this. It's up to you. Alright, the new confession for this major update is Kaguya. I believe this is CCL's favorite unit to have the confession on. I mean, not necessarily on confession on, but most used unit by that player itself. So yeah, I believe CCL is gonna be happy about this, but we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. All right, next up we got, let's see what we got here. Okay, we got the casting pattern skills. So this time around, there are actually solid picks for the 4 units that we got for this major update that are getting the casting pattern skills. So first one we got Shelfaniel. Her skill increases her int by 5%. When an AoE skill hits 3 or more enemies, dispel one buff from the target's hit, and unit gains damage taken minus 15%, which will last 1 turn. So yeah, this is pretty good, especially in most battles that require Shelfaniel, like goblins. But I mean, no goblins. They're not supposed to hurt you. They, I mean, yeah, it's not gonna make any interaction changes at all. But the only thing that's gonna change is the damage. However, in Dimensional Expedition, this is a big change because it dispels a buff from targets that she hits, and also she gave herself the damage taken reduction, which honestly is really nice to have because it allows her to survive a little bit more than before, of course. Okay, the next unit getting the casting pattern skill is Bozel, an OG unit from the past. And also, funny enough, he's probably one of the first villains to be playable throughout the game. Like no joke. Anyways, Bozel, his skill increases his defense and magic defense by 5% when battling units with at least 2 debuffs. Defense and magic defense increase by 10%. So I would probably say Bozo is a bit of a meh side, but I mean honestly, I think Bozo builds up his damage based on his defensive stats. But either way, the downside is for this one is that your Bozo needs to have two debuffs on him. Otherwise, this will not work in your favor. If you guys want to ask me about the opinion on Bozo, I would say he is skippable. He's actually not worth the CB. I mean the casting patterns. I would say he's not worth it if you don't use Bozo a lot. But if you understand how to use Bozo's casting pattern skills, then go right ahead. But however, mostly you probably don't want to invest in him in the casting patterns. I'm just saying, you don't necessarily need to do that. All right, the next unit receiving a new casting pattern skill is Young Jessica. This one increases her int by 5% when using Divine Right, which is her 3C, to hit an ally. Each ally hit decreases its CD by 1 turn. Maximum cooldown reduction is -3. So I can see a lot of good use of this. So this casting pattern improves her 3C. Basically, like depending on where you hit your ally with, each ally that was affected by this AOE will get the cooldown reduced by 1 turn. So if you, for example, if you have like 3 allies affected by this AOE, that's a maximum of a 3 turn cooldown reduction, which honestly is pretty nice, considering how long the cooldown for her 3C is. I believe it is 5 or 6 turns, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, with this one, that's a huge upgrade, which allows her to dish out even more AOE. And finally, we got the SR unit, Silver Wolf. Honestly, I've never seen Silver Wolf ever used in Apex because honestly, most SSRs are terrible. But anyways, we'll see how he does in the field now since he's receiving casting pattern skills. I remember back in the day, someone said that Silver Wolf it used to be a dominance in Apex, but nowadays he's just a bit shafted. He's just shafted, I mean. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, a Silver Wolf's casting pattern skill increases his attack by 5%. After attacking the entering battle, if the enemy does not have any buffs, deal fixed damage equal to 1.5 times Silver Wolf's attack. So this is pretty much simple to understand. So basically, if your opponent didn't have any buffs on them, he would deal even more damage with the fixed damage. which could actually be devastating to those who are not buffed. So this is actually easy counterable. All you need to do is just give yourself some buffs, so Silver will not do fixed damage against you. So yeah, there are actually a lot of counters like on this kind of situation. So honestly, Silver Wolf's casting patterns is probably not worth it if you don't use him much. All right, I think this will wrap it up. But however, the thing I need to talk about is the reminder for the next major update after the one I mentioned earlier about Leo, Beck, and Theon. So, anyways, like I said earlier, this is something you should probably reserve your resources on because there's a unit on this major update that is something you should probably not ignore because Poyo is actually a new meta, I should say, a new meta to the Apex Arena matchup. So if you happen to have enough resources, save it for this update because you don't necessarily need to pull for anybody for this for Leo Beck and Theon's cycle. Just save as much as you can, and then pull for these guys. However, the downside is, radar banners, they usually do include off banners, so you're not guaranteed to get anybody here, but if you're lucky, you might get someone you want. So to those guys who are going to pull for those guys, good luck out there. You're gonna need it. So that's it from me. I'm signing out of this video. So see you all next time.